with rock inside.
Holy shit!
I don't know if y'all can see it, but
Tonight, we look at 6 disturbing camping encounters caught on camera. Real moments, real danger. Don't forget to subscribe for more terrifying footage like this. Let's begin. On February 11th, 2021, a chilling backcountry experience was documented on the Arnold Outdoors channel. An encounter that reminded viewers that the most unsettling dangers in the wilderness don't always come from nature. What began as a routine winter camping trip turned into a night of fear and uncertainty. The group ventured deep into the snow-covered wilderness outside Bend, Oregon, scouting for a remote spot off forest roads, far from other campers.
Elevation, slightly. It's getting a wee more snowy. It's not too cold though.
Could be worse.
Yep.
More chilly than what we're usually up in.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
This is freaking beautiful out here though.
Searching for a spot. There's people up here.
Oh, there's a spot there that had a fire pit.
Yeah, that's the one we said.
It's kind of too close, yeah.
Too close to this guy because he's right up here.
Yeah.
So we'll see if, when we passed, he was just sitting there. So we'll see if he's setting up camp or if he left.
Yeah.
That's the big if.
And if he left, that's home sweet home for the night, most likely.
And if he stayed, then there's another spot back down towards China. Still trying to find a spot. We found another little off-road, offshoot road. Try to see what this little sign is down here. What is that? I gotta zoom in on it with the camera to see what it is. OHV only, I think.
And more traveling. Up
More sagebrush.
Yeah. And it's officially really friggin' dark now.
Yeah.
So, we're in the middle of flipping nowhere. You can't even see nothing. You can see the glow of Bend, I think,
I
back
don't
that
think
way.
it comes through on the camera, but over there you can see the glow of Bend.
Yeah.
And over there you can see one lone little, or
Yeah.
two actually.
Yeah, you can't
That
see
looks
shit.
like maybe a fire, 2 or
Possibly.
3 miles off, and another little light way off.
But yeah, we're not going to know what this place even looks like till tomorrow, so...
After driving through snow-laced trails and evaluating a few potential campsites, they eventually found a secluded clearing surrounded by pine trees, just as darkness fell. Cold but peaceful, the first night passed quietly. They built a fire, prepared food, and joked around, settling into their insulated shelters as temperatures dipped well below freezing. But around 11:30 p.m., that calm was shattered.
We won't give you our exact coordinates, but we're about 17 miles from Bend, about 7 miles from Paulina Lake. And just with those 2 descriptions, if you drew a couple of circles, you could probably pinpoint our location.
Yeah.
Hear that?
Yeah, what was that, a gunshot?
Gunshot or a vehicle? Vehicle. Or Bigfoot's fucking screaming. Clear as day, dude. Sound like a vehicle on a gravel road.
Probably caught it on the camera.
Hopefully that was freaky sounding.
Ears up, yeah.
Twice, loud as hell.
Almost sound like gunshots.
It did almost sound like gunshots echoing. But there's lots of people out here.
Definitely a gunshot.
Close. Really close. Like within a mile.
Probably within fucking half a
Half a mile. It sounds like a 22 and it sounds like it's coming from that way.
Sounds like it's coming from behind you.
It's 11:30. Someone must be going to bed. Shooting guns off before they go to bed or something.
Scare all the coyotes off.
Sounded like a 22 to me.
Kinda, yeah.
Cracky, snappy.
Or a handgun.
Yeah, but, yeah, maybe. Just seemed too snappy. It's really close though, like...
Yeah, normally I would answer, but...
Yeah.
In the silence of the night, the distant sound of gunfire echoed through the forest. At first, they couldn't be sure if it was a firearm or a nearby vehicle on gravel. But more bursts followed, and the sound grew louder. Judging by the sharp cracks and direction, The shots seemed to come from less than a mile away, possibly closer. The group tried to rationalize the situation. Perhaps someone shooting before heading to bed, or trying to scare off wildlife. But what came next turned concern into alarm. An approaching vehicle, engine revving aggressively, began moving toward their camp.
Vehicle.
It sounds like they're moving. Let's turn that off.
Yeah, go. Yeah. You want to
You
get
got
it?
it. You can do it.
Revving up. Wow.
Oh.
They're right fucking there, dude.
They're like driving around shooting.
Hooting and hollering and shooting. It's teenagers hooting and hollering. Kill the lights. They might shoot at us. Kill it and get low. For real. Fire! Where's? Don't fire. It's like, fire, don't fire. God dang, right there. I'm pretty sure he said fire. The one dude said where, and then he said, God dang, right there.
Yeah.
Pointing towards
like
our
a
fire.
Yeah.
Like they saw our fire.
It had its headlights turned off. Voices could be heard, shouting, laughing, and then more shots fired randomly into the trees. The campers extinguished their lights and ducked low, unsure whether they'd been seen. As they listened closely, they realized the group in the vehicle had noticed the campfire and seemed to point it out. Fearing for their safety, the campers kept silent as the chaos continued. After several tense minutes, the truck eventually drove off into the night. There was no confrontation, no injury, just the unsettling reality that a group of people had been driving recklessly through the forest, firing into the dark without any care for who or what might have been nearby. But the ordeal wasn't over yet. At dawn, heavy winds swept through the camp. One of their pop-up shelters was lifted and thrown several feet, forcing the group to scramble outside in freezing temperatures to retrieve and secure their gear. Combined with the events of the night before, it added to the growing sense that their trip was spiraling out of control. What happened that night could have been a reckless group of off-roaders or hunters with no sense of boundaries. But the deliberate extinguishing of lights and the silent tension suggest the campers feared being intentionally targeted. Some speculate that the shooters may have simply stumbled upon the site. Others believe it's a sobering example of how isolation in the wilderness, often sought after for peace, can become a liability during real threats, with no cell service, neighbors, or immediate help. What if the vehicle had turned into their camp? What if a stray round had hit someone? Out here, miles from the nearest road or emergency service, one decision can determine the difference between an unforgettable memory and a tragedy. So what do you think? Was this just bad luck, or something far more dangerous? On November 4th, 2024, a video was published by a Turkish outdoor channel known for its tranquil, nature-focused content, featuring peaceful camps, solo survival trips, and quiet moments in remote woodlands. This trip followed that same familiar tone, at least in the beginning. The location was a dense forest, chosen for its isolation and serenity. As usual, the video began with routine tasks: setting up the tent, gathering firewood, preparing a meal, and relaxing as the light faded beyond the trees. The scene was calm, the air was still. The forest canopy swayed gently above, and the fire provided steady warmth as night crept in. But once darkness fully settled over the forest, something changed. It began subtly, distant snapping sounds and faint movement just beyond the glow of the fire. At first, the sounds could have easily been dismissed, a nocturnal animal, perhaps a deer or wild dog, but the noises didn't fade. Instead, they drew closer. Measured footsteps began circling the tent, shifting position slowly from one side to the other. They stopped, then started again, not rushing, not curious, just pacing.
Çok ses var Hakan. Ya ne yapacak şimdi? O sesler ne? Köpek öyle mi ses çıkarır? Ya çadırın etrafında. Ya canım bir çıkmayın değilmiş, yavaş yavaş. Lambayı da al. Al lambayı şurada. Ne yapacak ya? Silah da yok.
Kim acaba?
Fermuar azıcık açtı bak hadi. Ya hadi.
Bekle ya. Sessiz.
Sen de ne kadar böyle soğukkanlısın. Görmüyor musun? Bir sürü ses var. Allah Allah, bu neydi ya? Korktum ben ya, nasıl yatacağım? Ya köpek olur mu? Öyle mi yapar? Bayağı bir sürü sesli.
Evet.
Ayını olur mu? Bir şey var. Bak yavaş bir çık da şuradan bak hadi.
Başka bir şey.
Elinde ışık var işte hadi.
Korkmuyoruz da.
Uzaktan bak, öyle fazla yanaşma. Ya ne bileyim, kurtulsa kaç içeri.
Nasıl kaçacağım kurttan?
İyi de hadi içeri gelirse?
İçeri giremez.
Soon, the tent itself reacted. Its fabric flexed inward slightly, as though something had gently brushed or pushed against it from outside. There was no chaotic energy in the movement. It was controlled, intentional. Despite their experience in the wilderness, the mood shifted. What had felt peaceful during daylight now felt hostile and suffocating. There were no eyes in the dark, no figures visible through the trees, only sound, tension, and an overwhelming pressure that something, or someone, was close, just outside, watching. For hours, the pacing continued, off and on. At times, it stopped entirely, plunging the forest into an unnatural silence. That silence, empty and drawn out, felt even worse than the footsteps themselves. Eventually, the sounds ceased altogether. Whether the visitor had left or simply retreated deeper into the forest was impossible to determine. When the sun finally rose, they exited the tent cautiously, scanning the area for signs of what had been there. Nothing. No tracks, no disturbed foliage, no broken branches, just the oppressive silence, and the feeling that they had not been alone. Some speculate it could have been a wild animal investigating the camp, curious, but ultimately harmless. But others believe the slow, deliberate movements and tent contact point to something more intelligent, possibly human, or something else entirely. The lack of physical evidence only deepens the mystery. No confrontation, no harm, just presence. Was it simply nature being unpredictable? Or did something truly unexplainable pass through their camp that night? Whatever it was, it didn't want to be seen. It only wanted to be known. The YouTube channel Wander with Vickers is run by a couple who document their nomadic lifestyle, often camping out of their vehicle while traveling across the UK. Their content typically highlights quiet, respectful wild camping, with a focus on low-impact exploration and the beauty of remote landscapes. During a multi-day trip through Snowdonia, Wales, things took an unexpected turn. 7 days into their journey, after replacing several worn tires in a nearby town, they began scouting for a peaceful new place to spend the night. Using satellite imagery and recommendations from forums, they found a small lake accessible via a narrow road. A single sign near the gate requested that visitors not block access. They followed all visible instructions, parked responsibly with plenty of clearance, and noted that a local passerby had even stopped nearby to take photos, suggesting the area was frequently used by others.
It's a lovely walk though, definitely recommend it. Gorgeous views of the Nogwin and Tryfan, And this is looking quite funky as well, coming up here. Look, we found a fake rock. Why are you here, fake rock? Probably covering electrics. Yeah. Needed to know. So here we are at Lynn, Beep, and don't know what this is. They've covered up the car park, which is here. There's no longer access to the world's most perfect car camping or van spot ever. But yeah, here's our location. Very flat ground over there. I mean, we might camp there. Oh my god, that feels so nice to take the bag off. I feel like a partial hunchback, I mean, not humpback. I've triple, quadruple checked about the animal situation, and no animals can get in here, they're all fenced out, so it's good.
Feeling confident in their choice, they packed their gear and headed into the hills with their dogs. The terrain was beautiful, the weather calm. Aside from a few sheep being herded at a distance during sunset, the evening passed uneventfully. They settled in, unaware that the real trouble would come at daybreak. The next morning, they returned to their vehicle and found it severely damaged.
So, coming back from the car, from our camp, I have 4 flat tyres and a smashed windscreen and a smashed window, complete with rock inside.
Poor car. Are you still on hold, babe?
Yeah. I've been on the phone for 57 minutes.
For someone who didn't want us to stay here, they've made us stay here a real long time. Strange.
Trying to get rescued from this place. The breakdown people don't cover it. So on the phone with the insurance, and it's looking like it's going to be bye-bye to the car. It's going to have to get scrapped, and I'm going to have to make a claim. But it's not going to be repaired. Killed our car, murdered it. So there's no gate access blocked at all. He saw us probably, yesterday, when he came in, heard the sheep. I guess he really hates wild campers, because it's not like we're in the way of the gate, so what other reason could it be?
No, nothing was stolen from the car.
Nothing was stolen. So we made a police report, mainly just for the insurance purposes. Not that that's going to help me at all, because apparently because of the age of the car, it's just not economical for them to repair it, so that's it for the car.
I guess he wasn't strong enough to smash this one fully.
All 4 tires had been slashed. One window was shattered, and the windshield was cracked, with a large rock left behind on the front seat. None of their gear was missing. Cameras, electronics, and other valuables remained untouched. This wasn't theft. It was a deliberate act of vandalism. With no cell service and no nearby help, they spent hours on the phone with insurance providers and breakdown services. Because the vehicle was parked on private land, the damage was not covered by their recovery plan, and the insurance company labeled it a fault claim. Eventually, with the assistance of a family member and a local recovery team, they were able to retrieve the vehicle and salvage their belongings, but the car itself was totaled. The insurer deemed it beyond repair, and the vehicle was scrapped. The couple believed the damage had been carried out by a local landowner or farmer, possibly someone who had seen them walking the area the previous evening. Nothing about the car's location had violated any posted rules, but it was clear that someone had taken issue with their presence. What made the situation more disturbing was the targeted nature of the act. No attempt was made to steal or loot. The damage was precise, aggressive, and designed to immobilize them. This suggests it was more about sending a message than causing random destruction. Some suspect that local tensions over land access and wild camping may have played a role. In regions where boundaries between public and private land blur, hostility can build quietly until it erupts into action. They had camped in a place that looked safe, quiet, and peaceful, but someone nearby didn't want them there, and in the absence of direct confrontation, they chose to make their presence felt in a way that left no doubt and no options. Would you have seen it coming? Snow and Kurt, the couple behind Snow and Kurt, have spent nearly 4 years living full-time in their Mercedes Sprinter van, traveling extensively across Latin America. From remote mountain trails to major urban hubs, their journey is built on curiosity, caution, and calculated risk. But during a stop in Concepcion, Chile, that balance shifted unexpectedly. They had chosen what seemed like an ideal overnight location, a well-lit area near a modern shopping mall, surrounded by other parked vehicles. It was far from isolated. The setting felt safe, even routine. But what followed was anything but ordinary.
Alright guys, no doubt about it, our scariest moment in the van. Voice is shaking, it's taken us a minute to get the camera. Oh, you alright, Kurt?
Yeah.
Middle of the night, I don't even know what time it is. It's
Not that late.
It's only 10 o'clock. I don't know if y'all can see it, but we just woke up to someone banging on the window. Our 3M security film worked, but our window is shattered. We need to duct tape this. We'll be back in a minute. Definitely our scariest moment in the van. Oh, I almost got in. Oh, I'm shaking.
Me too. Oh, wow. That was scary.
Alright. We gotta figure out what to do now. Clearly, first thing in the morning, I have to find a place to get a new window. I don't think there'll be any sleeping tonight, so I don't even really think we need to move. We're in a very lit up area, right by a very nice mall.
Cars around us.
There's cars all around us. There's cars driving by. It's not even 10 o'clock at night.
They were just trying to smash in and steal what's
Grab.
in the van.
Yeah.
Just smash and grab.
Well, I could tell you I've never saw Kurt move that fast.
Sometime after 10 p.m., the calm evening was shattered by the sound of repeated, heavy pounding against the van's front passenger side window. A man was attempting to break in. Thanks to a layer of specialized security film, the glass didn't completely give way, but it fractured under the force. The couple inside immediately initiated their emergency plan. Bright external lights were switched on, noise was made, and the van was started, ready to escape if needed.
He brought a grocery cart with him.
Yeah.
He had a grocery cart, and Snow saw him trying to escape.
Yeah, Kurt scared the daylights out of him.
And he was stumbling and fumbling and falling to get away. But these were in his grocery cart, so we don't know if he stole these from somebody else, or they were his, or they're his disguise when he gets away.
But we're going to find someone to give them to because we weren't going to let him come back and have them. There are bad people all over the place, but there are a lot more good people. This will not put a damper on Chile for us. There's a couple of things I want to tell y'all. Our house was broken into in Orlando, Florida. The same thing. One of our glass kitchen doors shattered. This can happen anywhere. So we don't blame Chile or Concepcion. We don't blame ourselves. We were parked in an incredibly safe area that was lit up like crazy, and there were literally people 20 feet away when he tried to break through our window. Another thing I want to tell you is we planned for something like this to happen, hoping it never would. But everything we talked about that we would do if something like this happened kicked in. You know, we have spotlights that we can turn on immediately, so we flip them on. Kurt gets up, we make a lot of noise. Because for the most part, we've always figured if someone's going to try to break into our van, they just want to steal stuff. They don't want to hurt us. So if they are figuring out that someone is in the van, they're likely going to leave, and that's exactly what happened. So Kurt gets up, I flip on the lights, lots of screaming, lots of noise, and we crank the van immediately in case we have to evacuate, which we did, but not in a hurry because he ran away.
Now, one detail is we woke up to a loud boom, boom, boom, boom, boom, boom. I think there was 6 times. He must have been just smashing the windshield with his elbow or his fist. And the other thing that we have in place is we have security tent on our windows.
Yeah, a film that keeps them from breaking, and it worked.
The intruder, startled by the sudden activity, fled on foot, leaving behind a grocery cart and a pair of overalls, believed to be part of a hasty disguise or escape kit. No words were exchanged, no items were stolen, but the damage to their sense of security was already done. Not wanting to risk another encounter, they relocated to a 24-hour truck stop just outside town.
We made it to a 24-hour truck stop out on the
edge of town,
the turnpike just outside of town, parked up between 2 semis. It is 11:15. We're going to try to find a window first thing in the morning. We're going to try to get some sleep. I don't know how that's going to happen. We'll see you in the morning.
Wedged between 2 semis for added safety. Though physically unharmed, the emotional impact lingered. Sleep that night came slowly, if at all. The next morning confirmed the reality. The window, though still intact thanks to the security film, would need replacing. As they reflected on what happened, they recalled the rapid sequence, the loud impacts, the shadowy figure disappearing into the night. What made the event especially disturbing wasn't just the sudden intrusion, it was the location. This wasn't a remote area or hidden back road. It was a populated, well-lit space, just steps away from a public mall. There's no way to know if the man was targeting them specifically or simply seeking an easy opportunity. But the way he approached, with force, precision, and a planned escape, suggests more than just spontaneous desperation. This wasn't their first brush with vulnerability. Years earlier, their home in Florida had been broken into under similar circumstances. But this time, they were inside. Preparedness kept them safe. But it raised a sobering truth. No matter how carefully you plan, how bright the lights are, or how many people are nearby, danger can still find its way to your door. How close would it have gotten if they hadn't woken up in time? Uploaded on July 13, 2011, this gripping video from the Sean SW channel captures a powerful reminder of how unpredictable solo outdoor excursions can become, especially when nature decides to take control. The video begins like many others in the hiking or trail running world. A solo runner is seen navigating a scenic, peaceful path surrounded by dense forest. The tone is calm, almost meditative, until everything changes in an instant. Suddenly, a massive grizzly bear emerges ahead on the trail.
Holy shit! What?
At first, it appears the animal might simply be crossing the path, uninterested in the runner's presence. But instead of moving off into the trees, the bear shifts direction and begins walking directly toward the person behind the camera. Its approach is slow, confident, and deliberate. There's no sign of panic or defensive posturing. This isn't a surprised bear reacting out of fear. It's an apex predator making a calculated advance. Realizing the danger, the runner begins to back away, carefully maintaining distance, never turning their back, and trying to stay calm. What follows is a nerve-wracking standoff in which every movement matters. The footage captures the raw tension between man and predator in the wild, with no narration, no music, and no special effects. Just reality unfolding in real time. After several agonizing minutes, the bear eventually stops its pursuit, allowing the runner to slowly retreat and put more space between them. No one is hurt, but the encounter lingers even after the video ends. What makes this moment especially chilling is the bear's behavior. Its calm, controlled movements suggest curiosity, territorial assertion, or even a test of dominance. The lack of aggression doesn't make it any less dangerous. In fact, it underscores how wild predators operate on their own instincts, not on human expectations. Some viewers believe the bear may have been warning the runner to leave its space, while others argue it could have been sizing up a perceived threat or simply investigating an unfamiliar scent. There was no attack, no chase. Just a moment where everything could have gone wrong and didn't. But what if the runner had stumbled? What if they had panicked and turned their back? In wilderness territory, the rules shift, and sometimes survival depends on decisions made in the span of a single breath. The True Adventure YouTube channel is run by a duo who frequently venture into remote Indonesian forests. Their videos often capture rugged survival scenarios, riverside fishing, tropical storms, and minimal gear camping in dense jungle environments. But during one particular overnight trip beneath what locals ominously referred to as a haunted tree, their routine adventure took a dark and unexplained turn. The journey began as many of their trips do. After navigating thick undergrowth and rough terrain, they found a spot beside a quiet lake and began setting up camp. The forest was still. The setting, secluded, humid, and atmospheric. As night settled in, heavy rain and wind rolled through the jungle. Despite the conditions, they focused on survival, building a fire, preparing food, and pitching their tarp. After eating, the mood remained light. The night, for a time, was peaceful.
Astagfirullahaladzim! Astagfirullahaladzim! Apa tu? Astagfirullahaladzim! Itu aku nampak apa tadi tu? Astagfirullahaladzim! Serius? Tengok asli merinding. Namang tadi? Sini aku nampak tadi ni. Serius lah. Serius! Ini gemetar jantung aku. Apa tu? Ini memang agak apa nih? Apa tu yang bunyi tadi tu? Tengok merinding dulu. Tengok merinding. Tengok. Iya. Apa tu? Merinding. Tengok, pemirsa. Coba merinding semua dia. Asli aku pun nampak juga tadi, entah apalah tadi tu. Aku jangan tengok langsung merinding. Aduh. Tunggu dulu ya, coba kita tengok. Aku masih penasaran tu. Apa tu? Buaya! Oi! Itu kita pasang bentuk tidur kita lagi. Tak mungkin lagi dah. Astagfirullahaladzim. Apa tu? Astagfirullahaladzim. Apa tu? Apa tu? Serius dah? Apa tu? Astagfirullahaladzim. Allah.
But that calm wouldn't last. Faint sounds began to emerge from the trees. Small movements, like footsteps, just beyond the edge of their light. They dismissed it at first, assuming it was wildlife or wind moving through the jungle floor. But the noises grew more deliberate, and soon, shadows began flickering past the perimeter. Then came the most chilling moment. A pale, human-like figure darted past the outer edge of their camp, barely visible, but undeniably real. The brief glimpse was enough to trigger instant dread. Something began moving around the camp slowly, circling it in a measured, deliberate pace. Not random rustling. This felt intelligent, observant. Their fear escalated. Suddenly, another white form passed directly in front of their tent. Neither of them spoke. Their bodies trembled involuntarily. The sounds continued, steps in the undergrowth, faint brushing against the tarp, distant echoes, and yet, nothing ever entered the camp fully. They stayed frozen in place, unable to sleep, unsure whether they were being watched or hunted. By morning, the forest had gone silent. There were no tracks, no damage, no animals nearby, only a crushing, unnatural stillness. The pair packed up as fast as they could, avoiding eye contact with the tree line. Whatever had approached them left behind no physical trace, just lingering fear and the unmistakable sense that something had been near. Viewers were quick to suggest that this may have been more than just an eerie night in the jungle. Many pointed to local legends involving forest spirits, cursed trees, and entities said to dwell near lakes and grave sites. The rhythmic movement, pale figures, and overwhelming sense of dread are common traits in Southeast Asian folklore. Skeptics argue it could have been hallucination brought on by exhaustion, the jungle's echo chamber playing tricks on their minds. But for the adventurers themselves, the fear was real, and so was the presence. They were never touched, never chased, but they were never alone. Was it just the forest playing tricks on the mind? Or did they camp somewhere they were never supposed to be? That's all for tonight's video. Which encounter gave you chills? Let us know in the comments below. Got your own experience? We want to hear it. And whatever you do, don't miss what's coming next.